Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, we have listed out a lot of stocks that are going to be tracking for you. We have Prakash Diwan who joins us to help us out with what he's tracking and how he can help us out with some fundamental analysis. Hi, Prakash. Good morning. Good to see you in. Let's talk about Aster DM. We just had the management. What's your view on that one? They've given some very, very high projections, but your view at 500 rupees. And also, I wanted a quick comment on Greaves Cotton. They're finally looking to unlock some value via the IPO route of the EV company. But it's looking challenging out there, the space itself. Your take.
Good morning, Nigel. Lovely to be on the show. So I think Aster DM is probably finally getting to do things that the market would have anticipated for quite some time in terms of a trigger to re-rate itself. Look at how it's performed in the last 4-5 years. If you take the pandemic-related business out or the increase in business out, it's been fairly flattish. And that, the demerger also was something which took some time, longer than anticipated. The impact of it has finally been digested. But honestly, at 25,000 crores, it's a very good asset that trades at just about 5 times where the market probably accords an 80, 90 P to a lot of the other businesses. So it has value. There's no doubt. What this does is it kind of helps it scale up, which was missing. It was always relegated as a regional player, and it probably has the opportunity to break out of that. And this acquisition that they made, I was just looking up on what Care Hospital has been specializing in or known for, and they've started using a lot of experimental AI in terms of procedures and remote procedures. So that all of that actually behoves well for the business to kind of grow. And what Alisha was mentioning in terms of the P help that they could get in terms of smartening up their operations, that could probably be a good trigger. So yes, quite positive. It's not overvalued at all in this market. Very difficult to find. Of course, there have been reasons for that low multiple, but this could help it re-rate as they start kind of performing. People will probably wait for a quarter. Serious money will come in once they understand the combined entity reporting some very good numbers.
Prakash. Good morning. Just a quick word on this RBL Bajaj Finance news flow. If you the termination which has happened, the partnership ending, and we've got a banking analyst also joining us in a bit. What's your sense? I mean, it looks like it's meaningful for RBL Bank.
Oh, good morning, Prashant. Oh, absolutely. I think it's definitely something which suddenly stops the gravy train. There's no distribution might that RBL can bank on in terms of growing its book on the credit card side. But to be honest, there is a lot that RBL needs to do in terms of getting its act together, and especially at a time where all other smaller banks, comparably of the same size, have really done things very well in terms of consolidating their books, their reach, their NPAs. There's so much that's happened on Federal Bank or even a DCB. Which otherwise we really don't talk much about. So RBL, probably this is a wake-up call of sorts in terms of that. And I think the stock's already seen that reaction, lose almost like $100 in the last few months. For Bajaj Finance, of course, the origination fee, does kind of stop coming, but it also kind of prevents them from, a regulatory risk overhang perspective. And they would rather focus on something which is straightforward. So I think it's good for Bajaj Finance, but incrementally it's more negative for us.
Okay. By the way, I'm looking at the benchmark 10-year bond yield. Let's see if we can get the 2034 yield up on the screen. It closed off Friday at around 6.75, and this yield has been very range-bound. Last 2 months, equity market has been correcting, going all over the place, and the rupee has been weakening. But the yield has been quite steady between 6.7 at the lower side to about 6.8, 8.5 on the higher side. There's a bit of an inch up in the market right now. One of the rates I saw was also around 6.79. Again, going back to the 6.8 handle, because obviously, I mean, that print is pretty weak. But the expectation is going to be that the RBI will start cutting more. So let's see if we start seeing some sort of a bond rally. The rupee continues its weak trajectory. There's no change there. And on the equity market, now the market seems to be stabilizing. The cut is about 100 points lower on the Nifty. But let's see. Let's give it some more time as we go forward. Prakash, very quickly, Adani Group. So once again, I mean, those who could trade in and out of the situation fast enough, I mean, they would be happy because they've made money, because there's a fair amount of rebound from the lows. But what thoughts? From a portfolio perspective, are you comfortable going back and holding any Adani stocks now?
So, Surabhi, importantly, what this shakeout of sorts tells you is in terms of a crisis, if there were to be any, in terms of a news flow or triggered by any kind of a news flow, some of the businesses in the group are proving to be fairly resilient. The stocks are proving to be fairly resilient, given that valuations are not straight. So one is, of course, ports. Their investor day at the Vindhyam port has actually built so much of confidence around that. If you look at the notes, you'll see what kind of growth they're talking about. But I'll tell you what I would focus on out of the Adani portfolio. It's the Ambuja ACC play. It's so simple. Ultratech just announced a debottlenecking-led growth of 0.6 MT. Now, imagine if Adani were to start kind of doing that as a group, and they've been talking about it, but probably things have not been very stable. If those efficiencies come in, these stocks that you're buying today, the cement stocks, are probably available at a very good opportunistic kind of level. So there will be growth without incremental costs attached to it. So I would look at that for sure. But of course, Adani Enterprises continues to be a very promising bet, but value unlocking and all of that is something which we really don't know timelines about. But I would look at the cement place.
Okay. All right, Prakash, take that point. We will leave it on that note. Shorter chat today, lots to cover. Thank you for joining in, and we'll connect again soon.